Some things can be made easier by riding an electric mountain bike. Some things can be a little bit harder. So today, let's take a look at some of the most difficult and challenging aspects about the sport of e-mountain biking. It isn't cheap, that's for sure. The prices of e-bikes can become a barrier for quite a lot of people to even dip their toes into the sport. The cheapest e-mountain bikes are starting at around £1,000 for a basic hub drive model, which are great for your first off-road experiences, as are some of the home build conversion kits. The great news is that manufacturers are now offering various builds of their models with different specs, motors and battery sizes, meaning the prices are coming down and making the sport of e-mountain bike more affordable to many. Now, some people just don't get it, do they? Yes, it's an electric mountain bike, and no, it's not cheating. The workout you get on an e-bike is up to you. Get a good workout in eco or go for a power hour in turbo. The choice is ultimately yours. It's actually hard to explain to people how much fun these bikes can be, rather than they're not cheating. If you're thinking about purchasing your first e-mountain bike, it can be quite hard choosing the right time to dive in and spend that hard-earned cash due to that constantly evolving tech. You've got new batteries, new motors, new software all the time coming in. But to be frank, that has slowed down quite a lot over the past few years. We're not seeing constant massive leaps in technology. So I suggest you dive straight in and join that train before it leaves the station. It's all about spinning, gearing, body position and tyres. It's a whole new world out there, and it's an art for sure. Check out the many videos on technique and adventures that we've been on here on EMBN. Jumping your e-mountain bike might seem a little bit daunting at first, but you will find that that e-bike, once it is in the air, is super stable and really predictable. In fact, I love hitting big jumps on my e-bike. I find it a lot better than a standard mountain bike. It gives me a lot more confidence in the air and it allows me to do way more tricks and a lot more style too. If you jump in, just take it in baby steps at first and work on that progress really slowly. And the great thing about riding an e-mountain bike when it comes to jumps is the amount of practice that you can do really easily. You do your jumps down the hill, you ride back up, repeat over and over again. Super simple. It's not a simple case of lifting your e-bike up onto your roof bars to go and hit your local trails if you're driving a car. Nor is it a simple case of sticking your e-bike into a bike bag if you're traveling somewhere by plane. Cars will need a dedicated e-bike rated rack that can deal with the weight. These will often need to be tow bar mounted over the roof bar mounted options. And flying with your e-bike requires your battery to be removed and shipped to your location separately, or hire a battery out on your arrival. The hardest thing about e-mountain biking is probably the ground that you ride on. In fact, if you ride off-road aggressively, there's a chance that you'll be sampling the soil or maybe hitting a tree at some point along the line. So protection is definitely a must. A helmet and gloves, an absolute minimum. Anyone who's never picked up an e-mountain bike will always be surprised by its weight. Although 20 kilos is very manageable and very maneuverable out on the trails, but occasionally you do have to lift these bikes up in the air, be it over a gate or maybe into the boot of your car. Now, the best way that I found to do this is to turn that motor off, get down nice and low by the bottom bracket and lift the bike up and under your armpit. That way you can clear those trail obstacles with ease. Now, popping wheelies and doing bunny hops on an e-mountain bike can become a little bit harder over a regular mountain bike. But the truth is, with good technique, wheelies, you'll see that front wheel lift pretty easily if you're doing the timing right. Bunny hops, yes, they can become a little bit of a dark art to master, but using that weight and the suspension of the bike and perfect timing can actually make all those tasks fairly easy. Now, one thing that can challenge even a well-practiced e-biker can be working out battery range, especially on those rides that are right on the limit of what you can do on one battery. Battery management becomes part of the ride just as much as changing gears and using your dropper does. Then you also have the added tech of being able to tweak those settings even further on some bikes with an app. This all adds to the challenge. There is the initial purchase price of an e-mountain bike, and that costs thousands of pounds, but you add in the upkeep and the maintenance of these bikes too. Drivetrains, cassettes, chains, chain rings, brake pads, tyres. It's all expensive stuff, and e-bikes love eating it. Now, one of the most hardest things you'll ever do on your e-mountain bike is ride it with a flat battery. Often when you've miscalculated your range on a big ride, it goes flat. Something I definitely don't recommend. So there you go, that's the hardest things that I can think of when it comes to e-mountain biking. But as always, get involved in the comments box down below. If you've got anything to add, give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed today's video, and give us a find and a follow on social media too. Cheers for watching, go ride your bike.